Jelly Roll is on a mission to get back his right to hunt. The singer, who has been to jail around 40 times throughout his life, is a felon, but he's also now a changed man, a man of God. He talks an awful lot about faith these days, and he's hoping to get back his right to own a firearm. Let's see what he recently told podcast host Joe Rogan.
I am up for a pardon this year. My paperwork has been sent into my governor, and he considers pardons in every December. So every day, I'm just kind of praying. You know what I mean? But even if he gives me the pardon, unfortunately, Tennessee has a zero forgiveness policy for violent offenders. So I would be pardoned, but I wouldn't be adjudicated. What's it called? When they
exonerated?
Exonerated. I wouldn't be. The charges aren't completely gone. So what I'd have to do is, and this is my hope, is that my goal in this is that I want to reach out to legislation eventually and go, hey, like, if nothing else, I'd like my right to hunt. Like, it's done a lot for my mental health. It's done a lot for my physical health. Like, it's been being able to start going on that first bow. These are little markers that I put on the calendar. You know, when I'm 400 something pounds and I'm like, all right, next year, Cam said he's taking me on my bow hunt. I got to get there. You know what I mean? Like, all right, next year, I'm not going to run that 5K in an hour and a half. I'm going to do it in 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, these are those markers. So I want to go to them and go, look, I understand if you've ever raped somebody or killed somebody, but I think that there should be some path to redemption, even if it takes 30 years. Put something unrealistic up there. You can't get a speeding ticket for 20 years, but like, I think it's important for people to have a path to redemption. I'm a redemption guy. And, you know, if God didn't just show me so many paths, you know what I mean? Then
I think it's one of the more beautiful aspects of Christianity,
right?
That it does offer you a path to redemption, like a true legitimate path where you can become a different person.
Literally.
Yeah.
And people not judge you on the old person anymore, judge you on the person sitting in front
I get
of
it for the public safety aspect of it. It's hard to know if a person's redeemed themselves. I get that.
It's hard. And if you make the wrong decision, man, I couldn't bear the burden of your conscience of that neither.
Right.
But then you do have cases, and I know I'm not the only one, of people who have, like, even little things like, I mean, outside of hunting, Joe, it's not that I'm a big, you know, I just wish I could protect myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm $1 million plus a year in security. I'd cut that bill in half tomorrow if I had a right to carry.
Right.
You know what I mean? For sure. You know, but at least let me hunt. I mean, my heart's right. I just want to feed the family and go out and spend some time with the boys and do some population control. If we don't kill them deer in Tennessee, they're taking over anyways. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure
it's
you
bad.
got a lot down there.
They're everywhere. Not like these monsters down here, but they're everywhere.
I'm joined by CBN's Raj Nair. There's a lot to break down and consider here, Raj, because Jelly Roll, he wants to hunt. He wants to protect himself. He's a celebrity who spends a lot of money on security, which is understandable when you've reached that level of success, the types of threats and issues you face. And yet, because of living in Tennessee, and Tennessee being the place where these crimes purportedly happened, he's not able, due to the felony, to own a firearm. And so that affects not only the security aspect of things for him, self-security, it also affects his ability to hunt, which he said, obviously, as you heard there, helps his mental health and is something that he has enjoyed. Let's break this down. I know there are two sides to this, Raj. What are you thinking as you hear him voice this?
Well, this is definitely a debate, and I actually kind of love debates just like that because, you know, when it comes to certain things like the right of the unborn, the biblical ethics of marriage, you know, there are clear-cut biblical delineations of right and wrong, but this one is, I could see someone making a convincing argument either way. So as we have this discussion, let us know in the YouTube comment sections where you stand on this, what you think, because it is a really gray subject, right? When it comes to Jelly Roll, like you said, Billy, he's been in jail not once, not twice, but up to 40 times, including aggravated robbery, dealing drugs, hard stuff. But the message of the gospel is this idea of redemption. And obviously, Jelly Roll has been walking the straight and narrow recently. He was even in a very, famously in a song with Brandon Lake. And here's the thing, for Jelly Roll's soul, for Jelly Roll's existence, his inner emotionality, amazing work that God's doing. And of course, there's redemption for that. No matter how much garbage you've done, look at Paul. No matter how much garbage you've done, there is redemption. I look at 1 Colossians 13, for he has rescued us from the dominion of darkness and brought us into the kingdom of the Son he loves, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins, not because we deserve it, most definitely not because we've earned it, but because God loves us and sent his son in our stead, because we could not pull ourselves out of this muck and mire and into our own redemption. So the redemption that matters, Jelly Roll, my brother, you already got it. But now to the debate. Does someone who has been to jail 40 times for things like aggravated robbery deserve to be redeemed legally to own a firearm? Here's the thing. I think there are people in the Christian conservative space that are very, I'm not saying harsh in a bad way. I'm just saying harsh when it comes to enforcing immigration laws, harsh when it comes to enforcing drug enforcement laws. Again, not harsh in a bad way. Let's just call it strict, right? But then, so should we be harsh/strict in enforcing no guns for felons laws? And I think it is a very interesting debate, and a debate is exactly what it is. So I'm actually, usually on here I get up and give you my opinion. I'm more interested in your opinion. So let us know in the comment section where you stand on this. Should someone who's been to jail 40 times for things like aggravated robbery be allowed to own a firearm since they've been shown to be walking the straight and narrow? And does that is that all kind of inconsistent with how we enforce other laws? I don't know. I do believe, Billy, that this is one of those conversations you're around with your buddies at a Bible study, drinking coffee, and you bring up something and there's like 7 people and 7 different opinions. So I can see a Jelly Roll's side of this. He's like, listen, for years I've been living the right way. I've been doing worship songs. I'm doing what that needs to be done. But you've been to jail 40 times. Does that mean not just spiritually and emotionally, but that legally you can be redeemed into full citizenship when it comes to, all of your consequences and ramifications being erased? I don't know. I honestly, when we were having this discussion before we got started, Billy, I'm not exactly sure where I sit on that, but I do think that the comment section will be helpful. So let us know in the YouTube comment section. And for the definitive, unequivocal truth of this matter, I toss it back to Billy.
Oh, look at that. Putting it on me. I will say I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to go very deep on my own opinion on this, but I do think we want to hear from you, obviously. One other factor that is interesting, according to biographies, some of the most serious charges that he faced, the aggravated robbery, those sorts of things. He was 16 years old at the time. He was charged as an adult. He faced 20 years in prison as a 16-year-old, apparently. He ended up serving a little bit over a year and then had 7 years probation. He told Billboard this, and I want to read it because it's important. He said, "I hadn't hit my last growth spurt. I was charged as an adult years before I could buy a beer, lease an apartment, get a pack of cigarettes. I feel like the justice system at that point kind of parked me on my only set path." So look, some people aren't going to like that quote. Others will. They'll say, well, he should have known better at 16. Others will say he was a kid. Obviously, there's a deep history there. I do think this bigger, broader question of how far does redemption go? Spiritual redemption is always available. Paul was out there, as you said, he's holding the cloak of people stoning Stephen. He is literally facilitating in the deaths and things being taken away, the harm of believers before he becomes a Christian himself on the Damascus Road. We know spiritually there's not a question, but legally there are questions here, and people have to really weigh what they think should happen here. It'll be interesting to see if Jelly Roll does earn his right to get a gun back. We'll have to monitor that and see. I think the celebrity factor, not that celebrities should be given special treatment, but when you need more security, most of us don't need $1 million a year worth of security, which I think is what he's dealing with. That opens up other questions about, self-protection and all of that. So anyway, this is a complicated one, and we can't wait to hear what you guys think about it.